Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another YouTube video of mine. And today you guys may see me in a little quarter zip, a little cozy quarter zip in a cold Sweden. You think the trend has finally caught up, but don't worry, we had the quarter zips before the trend came. But yeah, let me not yap too much. Let me actually get straight into the value, because this video, if you watch it from beginning to end and actually implement it for yourself or your own client, you'll see great results and overall great returns from watching it. So stick until the end, because in this video I'm going to be breaking down how we made one of our partners at our growth partner agency just over $180,000 in the span of 2 weeks using what I call a growth process. So as you guys can see, how did we go from making $0 or having $0 the second week into the month to closing out the month at $186,000? Well, it's all through something I call a growth process. And this growth process was specific for 2 weeks. And before I go into the kind of in-depth stuff, which I have prepared all over here, let me go into the numbers, because you guys probably want to see some proof. As you can see, here is the webinar analytics of how many opt-ins we got until how many live actual attendees. So to the actual opt-in page for the masterclass, as I like to call, or webinar, as you guys may know it, we got just under 6,500 people on the site, unique visitors. And our sign-up rate was extremely high. It's probably very above the industry standard rate. The industry standard rate is usually around 45% if you're running like cold traffic. But for this one, it was an organic launch. So we got, just over 78%. So in total, we got 5,000 people to secure their spots. And then to the actual show up rate, to the live training, we got around 65% show rate, which led to just over 3,300 people actually attending the live training. And then, of course, after we had just over 10% replay attendees, so just over 550 people over there. And that's for the webinar analytics. Now over to the actual results that we was able to produce. As you guys can see, here is the end of month breakdown for October 2025, which was the kind of month of the launch. Here, as you guys can see, we got 191 booked calls. 141 of those were live, actually showed up. Close rate around 30%. Cash collected $153,000 and revenue 186. Now, at the time of recording this video, it's actually December, 5th of December, and we managed to basically close out the whole revenue. So basically, none of the leads did not pay or did not complete their payments. All of them did, which resulted in basically $186,000. As you guys can see here are two of the WAP accounts. So we have one in GBP and one in USD. USD, we brought in $71,000, GBP 62, which when you convert it, it becomes $82,000. And here is the booked calls screenshot that I took. We had 2 closers on this offer, but I'll go into that kind of later. But just so you guys can see, this is the actual results of what I'm gonna be showing you guys, the process. So without further ado, let me actually get into it right now. Now, starting off with the most important thing, which I again and again talk about, is traffic. Without traffic, none of this would have worked. So traffic, time and time, I repeat it, is the most important thing. It's like the fuel you put on the fire. The more fuel you have, the higher the flames will go, which means the higher numbers you're gonna make. So with this specific launch, we had a 2-part strategy, which had YouTube and Instagram as the main focus platforms. And starting off with the YouTube, we released a 3-part YouTube series for this client. And this 3-part YouTube series tapped into 3 main buckets. The first one being documenting a student retreat. So he basically had a bunch of his students fly out to where he lived, and he documented everything. And this taps into the bucket of POC, which is proof of concept. Proof of concept that he actually has students, his teachings actually work, and his teachings have produced results. And then on to the second point, which is showing live trading sessions. And I don't know if I mentioned this previously, but this specific client is in the trading niche. And this breakdown can work in whichever niche you're in. But this specific one, I'll just show you guys in trading niche. But the main concept is, first you have the POC, which is proof of concept that your product, your teachings actually work. Then you have showing live trading sessions or showing live results or value or something, which is the proof factor that his teachings actually work or your teachings actually work. And here you're also kind of tapping into the value part, which is value to the actual viewer. And finally, you have showcasing lifestyle and overall activities, which brings in the third and final bucket of that community aspect. Because with this space, with the info, coaching, online education space, when someone decides to give you your money and invest, they want to feel like they're part of an actual community, a community that is tight-knit, that is there for each other, helping day in and day out, and overall having that kind of brotherhood or whatever, sisterhood if you're a female, feeling. So that was for the YouTube, the strategy. Now going on to the Instagram, we had 3 main story sequences. The first one, which we launched, was basically the introduction of that we're going to actually host a masterclass. So we introduced that we're hosting the masterclass. We gave information on what the masterclass, the webinar is going to be about, and then we CTA'd for people to secure their spot. Now for the second story sequence, we showed student results, and student results and proof is probably one of the most important things if you want your launch to actually generate results, because people need to see that this blueprint or this process has worked for others before and those others have produced results. So student results, super important. Then we tapped into FOMO and scarcity, which is basically like we're coming close to the date of the live masterclass, so make sure you secure a seat. Don't wait another year, don't wait another month to take action. Do it now. I'm basically giving them that FOMO that they need to secure their spots now and they need to actually show up. And of course, CTA to secure their spots. And then finally, we gave that final push. We had that live kind of story sequence. When we were actually live, we posted a story so the people watching the story can actually tap in and just directly go into the live training without having to secure their seats on the opt-in page and whatnot. We just gave them the live link to join the masterclass directly to increase the show rate and the live attendees we have. And then after the actual masterclass, we made sure to have everyone repost a picture of them being on the masterclass. So we basically reposted all of the attendees' stories to show how many people actually attended and the impact this masterclass kind of gave people. So this is it for the kind of traffic section. Now to the actual funnel, and I'll go step by step, hence why I've kind of like darkened out parts. So starting out with the first one is the top section. As you guys can see, the top section covers a few kind of angles. First, you have the logo of your client's business or your business. You have a timer for that scarcity and FOMO aspect. You have a clear CTA button on the top, and then you could have a few different kind of templates on how you want to have the kind of first page or the first look when someone lands on that opt-in page. But we opted into having a profile pic on the left of the client so they easily see who it is, a clear, simple, easy to understand title of what the masterclass is gonna be about, and then simple CTA. And of course, you can have small things like this, which is kind of conversion rate optimization, like a sub headline, a headline on the top, just overall making the page kind of pretty looking. Now moving on to the actual value part, what the actual masterclass and webinar is going to be about. So we opted into doing a kind of 3-step process angle of becoming a profitable trader. Of course, you can change this to whatever niche. 3-step systems are usually very easy to understand. So we went into the 3-step system, kind of gave some bullet points and fascinations on what they're going to be about, and then again a button for them to secure their spots. Then we tapped into the actual story of the client. You can have a pic of yourself here, the actual story of yourself, so people can understand where you come from, what things you had to go through, and where you're currently at right now. And then of course you have the CTA again, and then probably one of the most important parts that I keep talking about is proof. So we had 3 video testimonials on the top, which are long form YouTube video testimonials with the students, which is also better to have is picture testimonials, because these are usually more easier to consume just by looking at them instead of watching, let's say, 30-minute YouTube video. This is basically the structure of the webinar funnel. Now, when someone actually clicks the link, put in their information like name, email, last name, phone number, they get redirected to the thank you page. Now, the thank you page looks like this. You have a congratulation message saying your spot is secured. Follow the steps below to prepare yourself. And for the thank you page, for this training specifically, we unfortunately didn't have enough time to record a VSL. So with this one, we didn't have a VSL, but with your ones, I would recommend having a VSL in place, which basically just goes over these steps for them to basically check their email to make sure they've received that first email on the welcome sequence, prepare their workspace, wherever their computer, notebooks, and most importantly, set a few reminders so they don't actually miss out on the training. And what we did here is we had a add to calendar button, and this you can actually just code in Claude ChatGPT. So when someone clicks it, it redirects them to their Google Calendar, where basically they put in the event on their calendar so they see it there. And then you have at the end, in the meanwhile or meantime, just watch my YouTube video or watch this specific video, which is basically moving on to this. You want them to consume content, as much content as possible before the masterclass. You want them to be prepared, so set reminders, set notes, save the link somewhere, add the event to your calendar, and then the backend marketing process starts. So with the backend marketing, you have email marketing, which is probably one of the most overlooked aspects when marketing to people, because people think, okay, I have someone opted in now, I don't need to send them any email and I expect them to show up. Unfortunately, that's not how it is. So with email marketing, you want to have a welcome flow. So directly when someone opts in and gives their information, a welcome flow triggers, which should be around 1 to 3 emails, not too many, because later on, if someone, let's say, opts in 5 hours before the masterclass start date, you don't want them to still be in the welcome flow. So just 3 simple emails, 1 if you want, even just thanking them, presenting this opportunity, and just setting overall reminders for the masterclass. And then moving on to the daily campaigns, which is where the majority of pre-marketing will happen and where objections will get answered before the actual masterclass. So we tapped into these 4 buckets. So the opportunity of trading, how big it is, how achievable it is, and stuff like that. Then we have results and proof, which again we showed proof and results of people in the community, people that have actually changed their lives through the teachings of this authority. Then, of course, we want to tap into the story of the person that's going to be teaching, aka the authority that's hosting all of this, and that's the personal brand. You simply want to position the person's story as someone that's relatable to the person reading the email. And it's simply because I see it all the times where people think they need to position themselves as this person that has the most crazy lifestyle, that's living this lavish life that everyone likes to achieve. But in reality, majority of people, they want the simple things, and they want to take care of their family and just provide for their family overall and their loved ones. So tapping into the story, making it very relevant, understanding to the actual person. And then of course you want to tap into like urgency, a bit of FOMO and scarcity, closing up to the actual live date. And here is kind of where the 72-hour before campaign sequence comes in place, where you increase the amount of emails you send per day, the framework you actually use in the email. You want them to be a bit more like direct response and scarcity and FOMO implemented, just so people actually view this as a valuable thing, and so they actually show up. Because the thing with the backend marketing that you need to basically understand is you're focusing on 2 things. Number 1, answering objections and getting people hyped to the actual masterclass. But second of all, the main thing you're really trying to do is have them actually attend the masterclass, which is the whole point of them opting in and securing their spots from the first place. So yeah, this is everything for the kind of email side of things. And of course, the traffic side with the story sequences comes into place with marketing before the training. So yeah, moving on to the actual live webinar or the live masterclass. So with the actual masterclass, the main 2 traffic sources, as I mentioned before, is from email and IG stories, like actual live traffic sources to the webinar. Because on the email you send the links, IG stories, you put up a story with the button to click on the live link to the actual live training. So those are the main 2 kind of traffic sources to push and divert everyone to the masterclass. And here's a picture again of the results and the numbers that we were able to achieve on this specific training. As you guys can see, overall 3,300 people that actually attended live. And I'll kind of go into this in a moment, but let me go into the actual presentation, like what we actually went through on the masterclass. I won't go into like direct detail. I have a video kind of planned for that probably in a month's time, where I'll be actually going down and creating a video going step by step of how to craft the most perfect masterclass and webinar funnel step by step in detail. But for this one, I'll keep it kind of broad, just cover the main kind of buckets we went into. So with the actual slide deck presentation that we went through in the training follows this framework. So first, we go through the opportunity, because if people don't understand the opportunity, they kind of won't understand the rest of the things. So we want to present the opportunity as big, achievable, and all these kind of buckets. And then we go into the story of the person. So on the email side of things, we kind of went over the story, but not everything. On this masterclass, we literally go over it from beginning to where they are today. Then we present a few case studies. We go into the value part, which for this specific masterclass was the kind of biggest part of the whole thing. After the value part, where we've given enough value to the attendee, we now start to transition into the pitch. Before the pitch, of course, we want to tap into the proof and case study and testimonial angle again, just to show them that what we have to offer actually works and actually produces results. Then we transition into the pitch, the CTA. After the CTA, what most people do wrong is they go into the Q&A section of the webinar, or even worse, they just completely end the training and they expect people to just buy simply off of that, which in this case with the webinar funnel is simply not. So after you've basically pitched, you have the CTA live, now what you want to do is objection handle people in real time. So in the actual presentation deck, you want to have most common questions asked that people basically ask themselves before buying or investing in themselves. And these can be like, am I too young for this? Am I too old for investing in this or having this business model or opportunity work for me? What if I have a family and a full-time job? Will this work for me? The answer could be yes, you only have to work a few hours a day with this business. Or what you can even do is present a real-life case study of your personal student overcoming an objection. So hypothetically, you'll have, let's say, a question, as I mentioned before, a question saying, I have a 9-to-5, I have a family, I don't think I have enough time for this to work. Now what you do is, if you have a student that has gone through what that specific person is objectioning to, you present that person as someone that has gone through that path, has overcome that objection, and hit their goals, which at the end of the day are the same goals that other person is trying to achieve. They just want that reassurance that it can actually work for them at the end of the day. And then after you've kind of gone through the objection handling questions, you want to open up the tab kind of chat for Q&A sessions, basically a live Q&A session with the actual attendees, because one thing you got to keep in mind when you're kind of hosting live trainings is you go through the value, you go through the objection handling, but at the end of the day, there will always be a group of people that want their questions, their live kind of unique questions answered before they invest. And that is where the Q&A session part is for. Now, before I kind of go into the results and pitch of this actual training, let me just quickly cover the value part. So with this specific masterclass, we had a main focus of giving as much value as possible. So in total, this masterclass went on for 4 hours, because the live room, basically the plan we had on the software was 4 hours max. And we spent 3 hours on the value part. Yes, 3 hours. And why, you may ask? Well, simply because, number one, this was the first masterclass we ever ran for this client. So we really wanted to make sure that the live attendees, the people that actually attended the training, got away with as much value as they could. And as you guys can see, let me show you the kind of engagement of the live webinar. As you guys can see, 4 hours here. The actual engagement of this training was one of our best, and it's kind of 2 parts. One, the actual brand that was presenting, the personal brand authority. He's a very good orator, and his brand is very loyal and authentic. So people actually stay until the end, or majority at least, you guys can see. So we started with probably 2,200 people, and we ended the training with just over over, I think, 1,200 people still on. So the actual drop-off rate was very low compared to industry standard. And then yeah, you can see the user rating, 4.5 stars. Not bad, not bad. But yeah, for the final time, as you guys can see, these were the results. Now let me move on to the actual pitch. So for this masterclass, we opted into pitching a book a call model. So not the typical straight to checkout or checkout link in the chat. We opted into getting people to apply and book a call for this product. And if I didn't mention it before, this product was a high ticket product. So this masterclass, if you have a high ticket product, would most likely work for you. Even if you don't and you're selling probably like a mid ticket product, anywhere from like 500 to 1500 or 2K, it will still work for you. But for this specific one, we did a book a call model since it was for a high ticket product. And here were the results. So results here, as you guys can see, from the 2 weeks, the last 2 weeks of October, we were able to get 843 people to apply and 180 calls booked. The difference is a lot there. It's because we had qualifiers in place for someone to book a call. They had to be financially qualified, location qualified, and just urgency qualified in general. So out of the 814 people that applied, only 180 got to actually book the call. For the 2 weeks of launch, 180 calls totally booked, plus rebooks, total 191 calls. And then we got 141 live calls. So 50 calls didn't show or did no shows that we had to rebook for the month of November. But yeah, let me actually now go into the post-launch process. So we had a book a call model. When someone booked a call, they received a pre-call sequence through email, and that pre-call sequence had reminders, proof was basically just sending them testimonial videos and pictures of results of students, and just overall more reminders, because the main thing when someone has booked a call, the friction point there is to have them actually show up. So as many reminders you can send, just send them through email, through text, SMS, whatever, just send them. So the actual day and time they have their call gets engraved in their mind. And for the dialer and setter specifically, their role here was, number one, dialer has to reach out to all the booked calls. And you may ask, why should the dialer kind of reach out to the booked calls if someone has already booked a call? Well, simple thing is, we want to, again, increase the show up rate to the call as much as we can. So as many touch points we can have, we will go for that. So yeah, in general, we had the dialer reach out just to kind of congratulate them that they had their call booked, answer any questions if they had any questions, and just overall let them know to put reminders. And then secondly, we had the setters and dialers reach out to the unqualified leads, which is the difference between these two numbers, and qualify them more through the phone, through dialing and setting, and then have them book a call again. And then, of course, you may ask, for the people that kind of did not show up, so the difference between the 5,000, 3,300, which is like 1,400, I believe. What did we do with the people that actually didn't show up to the masterclass? Well, for those people, we had a did not attend sequence through email. So we had a did not attend sequence through email, just letting them know, here's the replay link in case you want to watch it. For the replay link, I should have kind of put it here. You want to have a timer of when that actually expires. And in general, 72 hours is what you want to put it at. So after 72 hours from the live date of the masterclass, you don't want people to have access to the replay link. So for these people, all we did was literally just send them that and then CTA all the emails for them to book a call. Now, moving on to more of the kind of pre-call sequence. So after someone actually booked a call, we had a closer reach out to them on WhatsApp. And this is key because, as I said before, as many touch points we can have before the call, again, increases the show up rate. Hence why we had such a high show up rate to the actual call, just below 80%. And you can probably ask anyone in the sales space, 80% show up rate is a lot. Like the typical, I think, industry standard is around 40, 50% if you're lucky. And for this one, we had 80%. And the key thing we implemented here to get even a higher show up rate was, if someone no-showed, we would have the closer reach out to the dialer in the team to literally dial them on demand if they didn't show up 5 minutes after their intended start date on their call, and have them either join the call if they were available or rebook to another time slot. Now, This was for the show up rate of the actual call, and then close, either we had a close, PIF or split pay, and the specific price point of this product was around $3,500. So yeah, we had two endings to the call. Either they closed or we would just redirect them to the free YouTube. And I won't go into the closing scripts and whatever, otherwise this video would be 2 hours long. But yeah, when someone closed, onboarding sequence activated, welcome email, they received the Discord and product access. This was everything. Yeah, I think I went through everything from traffic to the funnel, lead, backend marketing, live webinar, post-launch process. So yeah, this was literally everything we implemented to achieve these results, to achieve $186,000 in the span of only 2 weeks. And if I was to kind of give my final say into this all, and kind of one advice for you watching this right now, is when you're doing launches, if that's for yourself or for your clients, be well prepared. Always be well prepared. Always be probably 1-2 weeks in advance, because some things will always come up that needs fixing immediately when you've actually launched. So if you're not kind of prepared beforehand and you have probably the email scheduled out or the slide deck's done or whatever it is, the stress will kind of get to you and launch results will be affected. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. There is definitely more to come of this kind of style, just kind of breakdown of the in-depth process, because I've done one of these before on this channel myself, not with my brother, where I gone through another one of our clients' launches and showed the specifics of that one. So if you want to watch that video, you can find that. I think it's the third or second one in this channel. But yeah, this is the end. I hope this video helps you immensely and helps you step into 2026. Just overall knowing the process you should go when you're launching this specific funnel. And to kind of end this video off, this space, the space of online education, is growing day by day, year by year, and it's really becoming the future. We're seeing us as growth partners that are running multiple offers across different niches are seeing it in real time, how online information and coaching can really change someone's life, and change someone's life far greater than traditional education could. And if you can kind of position yourself in the middle there, in the middle of the creator and the customer, as the person that has the skill and the knowledge to scale a business like this, you will get greatly rewarded for it. So yeah, I appreciate you watching this video. Definitely more to come. And yeah, I'll see you soon.